Joey, you will understand that I have to ask you this first
Am I really
question.
Joey Skaggs?
Could I see some ID?
Blood, urine, and stool?
Stool sample would be...
Underpants.
No, but
Take that out. It's the stupidest joke in the world.
So, but seriously, I mean, as a reporter, I have to ask you for
right.
ID.
It's a good question.
Because you have, for previous interviews, not with me, but with others, you have sent imposters.
Many times.
Now let's find out who the real con artist is. Will the real Joey Skaggs please stand up? It's number one.
Because?
Because I didn't want to be on the show. Because I'd rather screw them than be on the show.
You don't want to waste your time.
Like Geraldo.
You did it to Geraldo?
Oh, sure.
Really?
Yeah.
On his talk show?
That was more complicated. It was, they contacted me, they wanted to do a story about my life, and I said, okay, that's great, who else is going to be on the show? Oh, liars and schemers and scammers. I said, well, thank you, but I'm not interested, that's not what I do. So I declined. They called me back, they wanted me to go on. I said, we understand, and they kept trying to talk me into it. So I went for a pre-interview. I figured, well, I'll find some way to screw them. So in my portfolio of things that I've done, I fabricated a story that artists were living in water towers, and it was a new penthouse of the city. It was better than the penthouse. It was the top of the world. And I did a paste-up mechanical, put it in my portfolio, and as I'm going through showing the Cat House for Dogs or the Celebrity Sperm Bank or various hoaxes that I've done, they wanted a journalist that would come on the show and talk about being duped. Now, first of all, just like you said, you want to see some ID. What journalist is going to have me on after I've screwed them if they're not going to try to screw me? I mean, you know, they are angry. I question their credibility as an investigative news source. They don't like that. So there's always a hostile element for this. So I said, well, maybe Nancy Weber from Associated Press. Nancy Weber was a friend of mine. We wrote the story. We put her name on as a byline. I asked her if she would volunteer. Great. So they called Nancy Weber. AP? Yes. Would you come up be on the Geraldo show? Of course.
You are a reporter?
Yes, I am.
Could you identify yourself, please?
Sure. You scoundrel. I'm Nancy Weber from AP.
And has Mr. Skaggs ever put one over on you?
I am chagrined to say that he has.
But you had a fake reporter there.
I had a fake reporter there. And I've sent other fake Joeys on other shows as well.
May I have your name, sir? My name is Joey Skaggs. I'm a media satirist. And you, sir?
My name is Joey Skaggs, and I'm a media satirist.
And you, sir?
My name is Joey Skaggs, and I'm a media satirist.
Right, I think I remember hearing some story about they had a summit of two great pranksters. They invited you and some other guy from London, maybe, and both of you sent imposters?
Right. That was Danny Wallace in England. The producer met with me in New York and said, we'd like you to be on Danny Wallace. I don't want to be on Danny Wallace. I'd give a about Danny Wallace. I said, I'll be on the show if I can only hoax him. Oh, what do you mean? Well, can I send an imposter? Sure. So I got an imposter, but he told Danny Wallace, and Danny Wallace got an imposter. Or maybe he didn't tell Danny Wallace. Danny Wallace just decided he was going to, hoax me too. So it was two imposters, each pretending to be the person that they were supposed to be. But
So Joey, I'm thrilled to have you here. I'm
not really Joey, if you really want to.
Well, we'll show the other pictures of you through the years, and we'll determine, we'll try to, that you are Joey Skaggs. I mean, there is a diploma in art of the prank we see from the high school that you went to on the east side.
High school art,
it says
yeah.
Joseph Skaggs, Joseph H. Skaggs, is that correct?
Yeah.
And that appears to be a real diploma.
Yeah. No, it is my name. It is my real name, and I don't know what to tell you.
So, I'm thrilled to finally meet you after all these years. I'm also nervous that you're going to prank the crap out of me.
I won't.
Now, you have been called, among other things, somebody called you the quality control inspector for the media.
I've been called lots of nasty things, too.
But one thing about quality control inspector is it doesn't include the fun that you create.
Oh, it's not a, yeah, thank you.
I mean, because that's what half of this is, first of all, it's a lesson about the media. The reporters have to check their facts over and over and over again. But seeing what you've done over a career of practically 50 years.
Over 50 years.
It's a lot of fun.
Yes, it's a lot of hard work too. I mean, people should understand that. It's not just all fun and games. It's not to go ha ha ha. There are serious issues that I try to get attention for, and I use the media as a medium.
Well, in fact, you've said that it's not just about the news media reporting about you, but you want to report about the media.
Right. Well, there's a line that I use that the madman communicates with himself, the artist with the world. You know, the poet to a loved one and the artist to the world. I can start that over again. Can we do that again?
We get the drift.
Yeah. The madman communicates with himself, the poet to a loved one, and the artist with the world. So if art is to communicate, which I believe it is for me, then the biggest medium of communicating is the media. So I use the media to communicate.
Now, Joey, it's hard to know where to start exactly, but you came to New York to have your annual April Fool's Day parade. Now, it's important to stress that I guess you've held this thing for decades now,
This was the 34th annual April Fool's Day parade.
But for most of the 34 years, there was no parade.
Do we really want to give that up?
I mean, basically, wasn't it a matter of sending out press releases to assignment editors around town, and they're going, "Holy cow! Yeah, listen, Joe, we need you to go out and cover the."
Well, they have.
April
I mean,
Fool's.
everyone's covered it. CBS, CNN.
You mean they showed up
They show up.
and they find nothing?
Well, essentially, you're right.
But then, in recent years, you've been actually having some sort of tiny.
Well, since Trump got elected, I've decided to do a Trumpathon, an annual Trumpathon, as part of the annual April Fool's Day parade. So we do actually march from 59th Street and Fifth Avenue to Trump Tower on
Couple of blocks.
couple of blocks, which was it's always a lot of fun.
And so, what did you do this year?
I built a Kool-Aid stand, and we toasted everyone with Trump's Kool-Aid, drink the Kool-Aid, and we had Trump look-alike mass. It was a Trump marathon, so as many Trump look-alikes as we possibly get together, and a Trump figure, a giant Trump figure with a Pinocchio nose, wearing flaming pants, and just crazy stuff.
And so, what did the people at Trump Tower say?
Well, the people at Trump Tower went crazy. They loved it.
They loved it.
The police loved it. The police gave us an escort. It was incredible.
And
I have
you
footage
sure?
for you. Yeah.
I mean, they didn't go haywire?
No, I think they feel the same way.
That's classic. You have been pulling pranks on the media going back to the 1960s. One of the things you did at the beginning, where you started, you're a young man, you're in your 20s, and you held a bus tour into Queens. Now, why did you hold this hippie bus tour?
Well, I lived on the Lower East Side, and I got tired of all the camera-toting tourists that would come down into the neighborhoods and take pictures of freaks. So I rented a Greyhound sightseeing bus filled with 60 freaks, camera-toting, long-haired, bearded freaks, and took them to suburbia to do a cultural reversal. And it took off. I was on the front page of the Daily News, Today Show, and New York Times. It was an ironic reversal. It was a juxtaposition of reality.
There's a lot of old film, too. One of the things I noticed is there's a lot of film of you back like 1960s, 70s. You graduated from high school. I forget what else. There's a lot of was your family into that?
No, not at all. No, I was the black sheep. But I realized that when I was doing these things, that if I didn't have evidence of it, there would be no one would believe it later on. It's ephemeral. It's a conceptual art, and to me, it is art.
Well, that's it. That's our evening at a cat house for dogs, and it is for real, and it is run by Mr. Joseph Skaggs. No kidding around. This is it.
would you welcome the inventor of the fish tank condo, Joey Skaggs.
Joey Skaggs, he's fooled every major American network with his elaborate hoaxes.
Print this guy, Mike. I want to make sure we never see him again under any other name.
How do we even know that you are Joey Skaggs? How do we even know what you're saying about these media outlets is true?
He thinks that cockroaches are very important to all of us.
A cockroach hormone pill to cure everything.
Cockroach cure. Now, would you read that article?
My parents were missionaries in Kenya.
Would you ever believe all the things you see on television? Hoaxes performed before your very eyes.
Don't you feel bad when you do it?
I feel very good.
Well, about a month ago, we told you about a man who came up with a way to render verdicts without all the arguing in the jury room. But he didn't say anything about being embarrassed, which is what CNN is right now.
We've learned his invention was all a big hoax, and we fell for it.
Joey, there's a great film clip of you in Central Park, I guess late 60s, early 70s, whatever, and the cops show up, and I see in the background, I see a news car, WCBS Radio.
Right.
They were there.
Right. Oh, lots of people were there. I built a life-size Vietnamese nativity, a Vietnamese village portraying a nativity, and I had actors dressed as soldiers, and they were to attack it, to burn it to the ground, to protest the war in Vietnam. Got all of my friends with fake guns and helmets and whatever we could put together in an attempt to burn it to the ground. And of course, the cops found us. And I did it in Central Park on Christmas Day. And it was, I guess, provocative and iconoclastic. And
the cops showed up.
And the cops showed up and arrested a number of people.
And they were looking for you.
They were looking for me.
And I think I see the clip where they say, anybody seen Joey's?
I don't know where he went.
That was it?
That was it.
In the 1970s, this is when you really start getting revved up. And this little ad you put in the Village Voice, Cat House for Dogs, and it read in part, featuring a savory selection of hot bitches, from Pedigree, Fifi, the French Poodle, to Mutz, Lady the Tramp, handler and vet on duty, stud and photo service available, no weirdos.
Dogs only, by appointment, and my phone number.
That's my favorite part, is no weirdos.
Betty Drake and Blackberry. Isn't she beautiful? This meeting is to introduce the customers and their dogs to the brothel, to the bitches. And after they've chosen which bitch they wish their dog to mate with, we then inject the dogs with the drug which induces heat, and we have a second meeting then when they copulate.
What happened with this
Well,
prank?
I also put out a press release saying if your dog graduated obedience school, if it was his birthday, if you're embarrassed to come home finding him humping a pillow, since there are cemeteries for dogs and restaurants for dogs and clothing stores for dogs, all the amenities in life except the one that a dog would enjoy the most, now for the first time for $50, you can get your dog sexually gratified. I said I had two drugs, one called estradiol, which artificially induced a state of heat into the females who would only naturally come into heat every 6 months. And I had a contraceptive called Overband so that you or your dog wouldn't have to worry about a litter of puppies. This is not a breeding service, this is purely a sexual pleasure service. So with that and my answering machine with an outgoing message, I sent it out to the news media. And the phone rang off the hook and people called up and the media went wild with the story and more people called up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Alex Bennett. And tonight, Midnight Blue visits a cat house where all the females are real bitches.
And they wanted to get their dogs sexually gratified. They wanted to watch dogs having sex with humans. Whatever it was, they constructed in their own imaginations. And I was then asked by WABC they wanted to do a documentary.
This establishment in Greenwich Village is a cat house for dogs. By that, we do not mean a stud service. We mean a house of prostitution for dogs. For $50, your dog can have sex with a female dog while you watch and sip cocktails and take some pictures if you'd like to.
I set up a scene where I had 25 actors and 15 dogs. I staged a night in the cat house for dogs for the media. And Midnight Blue, Alex Bennett, Al Goldstein came down. They covered the story. It was on Manhattan Cable's Channel J, the first sex cable station in New York, in America.
Well, that's it. That's our evening at a cat house for dogs. And it is for real, and it is run by Mr. Joseph Skaggs. No kidding around. This is it, right?
Satisfaction guaranteed.
Satisfaction guaranteed.
And it snowballed from that. I was subpoenaed by the Attorney General for illegally running a whorehouse for dogs.
Today, at the State Attorney General's office, Skaggs and his attorney appeared in response to a subpoena.
And ABC did the documentary, and it was nominated and won.
I have it right here.
Right.
It was such an obvious idea to me. First of all, there are hundreds of thousands of dogs in the city. There's a dog population problem. People are willing to take their dogs to dog restaurants. I thought it would be natural to get their dogs sexually gratified.
So I had to, and the subpoena date was for April Fool's Day, April 1st, so I had to appear at the Attorney General's office on April Fool's Day and reveal that it was a hoax.
He says the hoax was a conceptual art piece and an expensive one. For what purpose?
Well, it says a lot about the media. I hope that it will change the viewing audience's opinion and change their perspective as to what media really is.
They didn't believe me. They said I was just saying it to avoid prosecution.
Millions of people have spent weeks believing that there is a cat house for dogs, and in fact, there never was.
And they had won an Emmy. They didn't want to give it up. They won it on false pretenses.
So, Eyewitness News fell for it completely. And won an award for it.
And won an award.
The Fat Squad on Good Morning America. You got on, you called yourself Joe Bones, and you got on one of the biggest programs in American news on television.
6 Fat Squad commandos are here now, this morning, live, to maintain tight security around our Good Morning America refrigerator while we talk to the leader and the founder, Joe Bones. That is his real name.
I had commandos, and you take out a contract, you want to lose weight, you hire us. $300 a day, 3-day minimum. Once you hire us, you cannot fire us. Our commandos take no bribes. We're with you 24/7. Every 8 hours, a new commando is assigned to your shift. They check the bedroom, they check the bathroom, they go to work with you, and they're going to force you to maintain a diet.
And they stand in front of the refrigerator.
They'll beat the out of you if you go for that chocolate cake and it's not on your diet.
We are there to physically restrain them if necessary.
Stop them from going to the refrigerator?
You bet.
It was a nightmare. She really couldn't help herself. I had to hold her down.
So what's the significance of this chain?
Oh, you gotta lock the refrigerator sometimes.
So this took off, went wire service, and of course Good Morning America wanted to have us on, so a bunch of commandos they built a set with a refrigerator and a kitchen table and all that, and the commandos standing around. And it went global. I did shows around the world with this. In Italy, they hired actors to play the commandos, and a fat woman in a bed, and and she's fammy, and goes to get a cannoli for breakfast, and we have to go in and stop her. And I don't speak Italian, but they're going on. I just anyway. It went viral. It was viral news, totally viral.
And then the next day on GMA.
Well, people called up and said, that's not Joe Bones of the Fat Squad, that's Joey Skaggs. So a producer called me and said, excuse me, but people are calling saying that you're not really Joe. I'm sorry to tell you, but you're right, I'm not Joe Bones. Son of a Yesterday, I called up for the April Fool's Day parade. I called NBC, and I said, "Hi, this is Joe." Yeah, right.
Right, really?
I used to call UPI, F you.
So even yesterday, you're doing this.
Even yesterday.
But nobody, most of the assignment editors kind of know by now.
Well, I was using my own name. You would hope they would know by now.
So nobody showed up to cover yesterday.
Oh, lots of people showed up.
To cover the parade?
Yeah.
Really? Like who?
Oh, I couldn't tell. I'll show you footage. There's just all kinds of cameras.
Really?
Yeah. Well, there is a parade. I mean, we actually, we did a, Trumpathon, part of the April Fool's Day parade. It's ongoing. This is several years now.
I can't imagine that this ended up on the PBS News hour.
Last year it was on WABC.
Following up on the dog brothel.
No, yeah, right.
The celebrity sperm auction.
Celebrity Sperm Bank. I held a rock star sperm auction. And unfortunately, the sperm bank was broken into and the sperm was stolen before we had the auction. So we had to wait for Mick and Bob and everybody to come back to donate again.
Unfortunately, last night, celebrity sperm was broken into, and celebrity sperm was stolen.
But, you know, it was social political commentary, and it was 1976 before there was any such notion of doing this for geniuses or whatever.
Right. And it got coverage.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it got tons of coverage.
I want to know about this because it's very dangerous what's going down here. Very dangerous.
The Portafest, 1992 Democratic National Convention here in New York at the Garden, and you are running around with a confessional, a wooden confessional on a bicycle.
Yeah, on a tricycle. I said I gave him two different names. I was Father Joseph or Father Williams, whoever I was talking to. You try to give him clues, you know, like, you know, you do some homework. You know, wait a minute, this is bullshit. What's his name?
From Fox 5, this is Election 92.
Now, if anyone at the convention's feeling guilty about something they may have done, they don't have to go far to confess their sins. A man who calls himself Father William has mounted a portable confessional booth on his bicycle.
Anyway, I pedaled up to the National Democratic Convention as Father Joseph with a confessional booth, and I had actors come in behind, and I had a little door on the back of my bike, and they'd come in and confess, and I would listen to their confessions, and I would forgive them. And then the public started coming in. I couldn't keep people out. So.
For delegates who feel they may have overindulged a bit, a Catholic priest has set up a mobile confessional outside Madison Square Garden.
But a California priest has the answer for Catholics who don't have time to confess. He calls it Portafest.
Father Joseph, who is schlepping a Portafest portable confession booth around by bike.
I had to say, I'm sorry, I'm waiting for Ted Kennedy come back in half an hour.
And once again, poor Jack Cafferty is seen there on the news introducing you.
Yeah, well, I've been on those shows at least a half a dozen times.
And Jack, you tried to contact him.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
Oh, I tried to let him know about Art of the Prank, the film, because he's in the movie.
Right.
And I thought he might.
Starring.
Yeah, one of the stars.
Organization is called Metamorphosis. Okay, Doctor, we probably ought to move along here. I want to thank you for sharing your scientific breakthrough with us here on Live at 5. Roaches, the future of mankind lies in these little devils right here.
I thought he might show up and have something to say, but no, he didn't. Didn't take the bait.
29-year-old Joey Skaggs shoved off for California today. That's no big deal, except for Skaggs is trying to make the 2,500-mile journey on a windsurfer.
A strange letter is arriving in the mailboxes of animal shelters.
Animal shelters all across the country. A letter written in broken English asks if the shelters would be willing to sell unwanted dogs for use as food.
This particular hoax, for me, is personal. It's not just Joey's art.
We submit it to film festivals as a mini documentary. If they air it, if they accept it and air it, and no one says that it's, you know, fantastic,